Hi, my name is James Marzotto. I'm Associate Director of Development at Compass Energy out of Toronto. Thank you very much for having us here today. Really appreciate the time to introduce Compass, some of the work we've been doing, and a project that we're working on. Real quick, since I was in the area and it's something that interests me, manufacturing, wanted to start with just a quick quote or an excerpt, I should say, that should emphasize how important it is, the work that we're doing. So here we go. During the past year, we made good progress in our decarbonization roadmap with 41% global renewable energy use, now compared with a 35% baseline in 2021. Emphasis on renewable energy. In Europe, it is close to 60%, and we are on track for our 2025 target of 100% renewable energy use. Later in this document, which I'll mention soon, it goes on to say, additionally, in 2023, we've joined RE100, committing to achieving 100%, so RE100, 100% renewable electricity by 2040, which in an energy development timeline is not a long time. The next 15 years. These projects take time to build, not a long time. So 100% by 2040 across our global operations. So, and to emphasize renewable, nuclear, natural gas, not in that category defined by RE100, an organization that many corporations, Apple, McCain, have committed their pledge to be renewable. So that excerpt was from Umicore's 2023 sustainability report. I understand Umicore, I'm from Toronto, but Kingston is not too far away. Umicore is going to be investing $1.5 billion into the area, thousands of construction jobs, hundreds of ongoing jobs that will be bringing money into your community, into Lanark. So the work that you're doing today, that we're doing collectively, it's not just making this world a greener, more sustainable place. It's protecting jobs and welcoming new opportunities that we're not even aware of yet. RE+, you have RE100, you have Apple, McCain, TD, Lululemon. I have yoga pants, not ashamed to admit. These companies, these big companies that we want, we all know what a factory can do for a community. So with that, I would say reminding ourselves of the good work we're doing for future generations, I will begin to introduce Almonte BESS 1 and 2, a lithium battery energy storage system currently in development nearby in Mississippi Mills. I'll introduce Compass, introduce Almonte BESS, and discuss future opportunities that, as community members, and Ulrich mentioned a bit already, that I think would interest you as well, going on that theme of helping maintaining our province's economic prosperity with renewable energy. So Compass Energy, we cut our teeth first in the introduction of the feed-in tariff program that's been mentioned a few times. Founders of the program later started Compass, and for the last 10 years, we've been helping developers everything from site identification for solar projects all the way to the nitty-gritty engineering and construction management of both rooftop solar projects, ground mount solar projects, and battery. So projects to date, as we move from consulting to development, span really everywhere across Ontario and Saskatchewan. We like Saskatchewan. It's very flat there. It makes for an easy ground mount solar array, as you can imagine. And also, kind of to my previous point, they're still really big on coal, just based on the history of energy use there. Saskatchewan, as you can imagine, not as many rivers, not blessed with the amount of water resource we have when it comes to, say, hydro. So it's where we've been busy for the last little while, last couple of years. Actually, I shouldn't even say last 3 or 4 years, our portfolio has grown substantially with the knowledge we've obtained doing the consulting work. Just a bit quickly on that in terms of, I'd like to, show off a little bit here and there. Some of the work we've been doing. We currently have, it's grown, 4 battery storage projects. Currently, we've just signed some deals with vendors, with suppliers for batteries, 3 in Windsor, 1 in Almonte, which I'll speak to very soon, and a second one in Almonte, which will be an addition, so Almonte BESS 2, and our North Glengarry, which isn't too far away either. So quite proud of our track record for all of the submissions we made. We won every single one of them, so happy about our 100% success record. I'm from Toronto, so our sports team's history. I know I'm in Sen's territory here, so it's nice to have something to cheer for. I can cheer for my company. Here's the graph, the almighty graph that kind of shows why we're here, or why this need is present and is not going away anytime soon. This jump in energy need, really starting, I would say, in the latter 2030s, comes from, we see it on the roads, the increased use of EVs. Just think of the 401, and I don't like to think of the 401, but I live downtown. Imagine those all EVs. It's obviously going to have quite the increase in energy need. The agricultural, they're projecting more, the electrification of agriculture sector, especially in southwestern Ontario, Chatham area, strong need there. Every time I pass or through to Windsor and see the growth of the greenhouse industry there, that takes up a lot of juice, as well as retirement of what was mentioned before, these centralized energy plants that, built in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they're coming offline. So new supply, new capacity is needed. So introducing Almonte BESS and Almonte BESS 2. A bit of background on the procurement need. The IESO announced this capacity need. So capacity, if you think of natural gas, peaker generation, what traditionally helped with hitting that peak need, say on days like today when everyone's ACs are on, or when factories are starting up, was traditionally met with natural gas. And with the, as I was mentioning before, the increased supply need and aging infrastructure as well, that there's, I'm not sure about Ottawa or even around here, but I know there's power lines in Toronto that Sir John A. may have walked by. I don't know. It is quite old. That stress on the infrastructure, on those really bad, really strong peaks, creates a need for this capacity for the battery storage to come online, whether it's battery storage, pumped hydro. That's where this need, and that's how we meet this need. So we were successful in the procurements. Currently for Almonte BESS 1, that was a 5 megawatt contract. So to put things in perspective, 5 megawatts takes up less than an acre of land. With the Almonte BESS 2 10 megawatt addition, still about less than an acre of land. We would connect to the 44 kV line. I believe I have a laser. Anyway, the 44 kV line that runs, we've all seen them driving down a highway, Kings Highway, along Highway 29. So we'll tap into there. And for the 25-year contract life, Almonte BESS 1 and Almonte BESS 2 will be used to deploy when our system needs it the most, supporting the local and I would say provincial grid as well on the distribution side. In terms of the siting, which is very important to us and we understand to the surrounding community, our thought process of how we came to this very specific location marked on the map here. First, we start with really just the engineering. It's black and white. There's really no debate on which transmission lines can take on extra power and which distribution lines can take on extra power and which lines can't. That eliminates the list very quick in terms of where you can add on this extra juice. Secondly, we then go to our understanding of zoning. So typically we'll start to see, okay, what industrial zones or commercial zones or rural zones would be suitable for these projects. Almonte transmission station, understanding that that can take on the extra capacity. We started from there, trying to identify a site that was closest to the transmission station to consider. Just something that a developer always thinks about is voltage drop. The closer you are to a station, the better it is for the engineering. And then we, speaking to landowners who were interested and saw the value of diversifying revenue streams to their land, started to look at land that was low producing. We're not going for the highest producing crop. We're crop areas. We wouldn't want to do that. We go for areas where the farmer's just having trouble growing certain crops. We believe it's in their every right to use the land the way they think best. That'll help them, again, diversify their income stream, and that's how we came to this spot. So with the project contracted, going through its various permitting requirements, did require a zoning bylaw amendment. The development timeline is as follows. We are in sort of 2024, 2025. Construction starting as early as end of this year, early next year. And the project with a 25-year contract leading up to 2050, trying to keep the project going, as long with renegotiation with the ISO or for future procurements. One thing I just wanted to mention, this is a 15 megawatt project contracted out of, memory serves me correctly, just over 1,500 megawatts that were contracted in the first round. Another, I believe, just in that 1,500, 2,000 megawatts that was contracted just recently, 2 weeks ago, last week, 2 weeks ago. So it is a relatively small project in the grand scheme of things. There are other projects ranging in size from small project like ours, 10 megawatts, all the way to the larger ones, 300 megawatts or so. I'm excited to speak to you all about the smaller projects, 5 to 20 megawatts, because kind of to what OREC was saying earlier, these smaller battery storage projects are an opportunity for local entrepreneurs, local farmers, or landowners, I should say, to again, to OREC's point, keeping more jobs and the money within local areas. So do hope it serves as an inspiration to future energy developers in the room. Benefits for our project will include minimal employment in terms of civil work, low voltage, high voltage construction work, in terms of equipment supply, typically an American or even a Quebec actually, battery storage manufacturer can supply to the project. Operations and maintenance throughout its 25 years is typically minimal, say for some site maintenance. Obviously an increased tax benefit, growth and diversification, which we've been speaking to a lot today. And in my personal opinion, it's a good thing, natural gas offset. In my notes about Unicor, within that same report speaks to forget the exact size, but essentially they weren't happy with their Markham plant being supplied with natural gas, and they put in their own biogas on-site generator to offset their natural gas. So again, same company that's investing billions of dollars to move away from natural gas. This is helping them with that mindset, that goal. So, all right, I am missing a slide. That's okay. All right, happens. What we would like to talk to as well today, I had it was a graph that introduces the next procurement, LT2. So this is a procurement that, to Ulrich's point, requests or has the need for supply. What we've been speaking to with Almonte BESS and Almonte BESS 2 is capacity, hitting those peaks. The province now is in strong need of supply, that baseline supply of power to the grid. So in LT2, a procurement that's scheduled for next year, 2025, when the bid submissions are submitted, great opportunity for Lanark, community members, landowners, local entrepreneurs to be part of project bid submissions. Essentially, Compass, what we think we can do in terms of being competitive, say with the large Bay Street, Wall Street developers of the world that are going to bid in large wind projects, additions to their hydro dams or to their wind farms, are smaller, distributed ground mount solar projects, where essentially the minimum size, 70 acres or so, from 70 to 120 acres, depending on what the power line can take. Those ground mount solar projects with a landowner with that amount of land, 70 to 120 acres, can be competitive in the upcoming procurement. Competitive all the while supporting what we're very passionate about and we really are excited to get started. We've got started on some of our Ontario projects. We've chicken farms going up amongst the panels. Agrivoltaics, so incorporation of certain livestock and crop that can be grown within the panels. Sheep is the classic example, not goats, but sheep. Sorry if there are any goat farmers in the room, but if you can train them not to jump and chew, we can talk. So it's a great example to both keep the surrounding community powered, keep local jobs, diversification for local landowners, for their land, keeping land. I know we're not all landowners here, but keeping land within the family. I was speaking to a guy in Western Ontario. He was thinking of selling his land to someone out of province. Now he's, okay, cool. Well, solar, I don't have to. Well, this is a quote from him. "I've got to go to work, James, so I can keep farming." So it does help depending on the land situation, really helping with the farmer keep that land in the family and local. I think he had the land in the family since the 1800s, so I was quite proud to help him with that work, or at least looking into it for him. Slide here, which happy to send around, speaks more to kind of just the overall high-level requirements for a ground mount solar project, minimum 70 acres, security. Hydro One, Electrical Safety Authority, watch these projects like a hawk. Ditto for our battery projects, so it is a safe project. Rows are typically 25 feet apart, typically on a tracker, and with steel piles embedded 8 to 15 feet in the ground. I like to mention this. Some developers in the past were putting concrete into the foundations, which we certainly don't do. Thank you very much for listening to me, to my spiel on our project, and how we can maybe help keep electricity supply opportunities within the county.
Let's see if there's questions.
If there are, yeah, happy to take questions. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Noelle Reeve. I'm the land use planner for Tyrrell Township, which is in the southern part of the county. My Reeve had to leave, but she wanted me to ask to see if we could connect to find out if there's opportunities to do either the battery storage, which he knew about, or talk about these sort of entrepreneurial ideas. So when you were explaining how you picked the Almonte site, did you look at any other townships in Lanark County to see if they were near these large, I guess, grid corridors like we're talking about that you like to connect to?
Yeah, I can, the short answer, yes. So I like to think of, basically start with a wide top of a funnel, kind of looking at various sites throughout the province, various characteristics, whether it's zoning, I guess I'll try to answer your question more specifically. So Almonte transmission station, we just knew it had some of the most capacity there. Therefore, the more capacity it has, say 15 megawatts versus 10, that goes to the top of our list because as we've just seen, we're able to now do in total 15 megawatt capacity project there. So if a landowner or a county were to approach us and say, hey, we've got such and such acres at these such and such pins, we'll run it through. We have a geographic information system set up process where we'll look at everything and let you know, oh yeah, this is great because of X, Y, and Z, or this isn't great, in terms of the wetland setback that we need to abide by, or there's environmental protection zoning. So yeah, in terms of connecting, always happy to run that exercise for someone who's interested in working with us, for sure. Yeah. No, thank you for the question.
Yes, I have a question regarding intermittency. My understanding of the rationale for storage, whether it be battery storage or pump storage or whatever, is that it was going to deal with the intermittency of other renewables. Is your company going to be feeding into the grid at strategic points in terms of dips in other in renewables? And is your price structure, is there incentive for you to be selling power into the grid when the demand is highest and therefore the price would be higher? You haven't really elaborated on how that is going to work.
Right. So I can give you a broad answer, and then I can come back to you in an email and kind of give you more specifics on how the contract exactly works. It's more of what I like to say, I'm James, it's more of a John question, my colleague John, who can give you a bit more details on exactly how the contract is structured. So, and it's all public, I just don't have the exact details in mind. But essentially what the ELT1 and LT1 contracts, the aim for it to be is not so much, well, to answer that one question, we don't have the opportunity to just flick on and sell power whenever we want, like say when solar's not shining or the wind's not blowing kind of thing on the intermittency. That's not its main purpose, I can tell you that. It's more so to being on standby for when those peak days happen, when those electricity peaks occur is essentially what the contract's for and in terms of pricing. So I'd like to get back to you with a better explanation. I can take your email down later, but...
You mentioned earlier base load. I mean, are you just dumping your power into the grid to supplement base load? Surely not.
So that's more so I would say, and I haven't seen the exact contract details, but generally speaking for LT2, they want supply of kilowatt hours. So not the battery storage for ELT1. The battery storage projects that I just spoke to specifically, that's not for so much safer baseload. It's more so LT2 for the ground mount solar.
I'm still a bit, I'm speaking strictly of battery storage here.
Yeah. Battery storage, again, it can further refine my answer for you. Happy to do that post this discussion. Battery storage would not contribute to the base load supply for Ontario.
So you mentioned earlier that the grid was going to accept your power, anticipating dips in your other sources of power. Is that in fact the case, or are you feeding in and out? Are you feeding your batteries in low demand situations where the price is low and then selling higher?
In a nutshell, yes. Yeah, but yes, for certainly, but there's more specifics as to exactly what service and how they're deployed that I would just want more finer details for you.
Thank you.
Hi. Again, I'm going to ask about the. I would like to know how a project like a BESS benefits local people.
Right.
I know you outlined some of that, but where I'm coming from, I've heard this phrase that Eastern Ontario was at the end of the line.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if I live east of Ottawa, how vulnerable is Eastern Ontario to disruptions and not enough power in the province, that kind of thing. I'm also aware that my municipality, when a neighboring municipality accepted to have a BESS installed in North Glengarry, my municipality set up a 1-year moratorium on any renewable projects. It's just this fear of BESS and what that might lead to. It might lead to more renewable projects. So I would like to have good words to explain to people the benefits,
Right.
local benefits of having a BESS installed.
So in terms of, say, just on sort of nuts and bolts engineering, the benefits, say I can start with Ontario. It's again being able to hit those peaks when we really need the boost in electricity for our peak demand days. So broadly, specific to say the Ottawa area, Eastern Ontario, I can point to the exact precise details I don't have, but certain details, say from the city of Ottawa, and also Hydro One, they have what's referred to as long-term regional plans. And in their long-term regional plans, the ISO and Hydro One, they've essentially categorized in geographic zones specific areas of Ontario. So these long-term energy plans will speak to the Ottawa corridor or the Southwest Ontario or Toronto or South Bruce Peninsula. They'll speak to the exact energy needs of those plans. So though I can't exactly reference an exact kilowatt hours needed here or voltage increase there to this area, there is that information source that if someone wanted to, and I can look into this for you as well, we do it kind of broadly every day to know where to go. That's a source that can be used to explain why certain upgrades and certain developments are needed. So even going further and even specifically to that, say for LT2, the next procurement, and also ELT1 and LT1, they gave us a list of essentially transmission lines that they want added supply, or sorry, added capacity on, and certain transmission lines were don't even like they were on the no-go list. So the Ottawa area was certainly on that list. Eastern Ontario was on that list. To Ulrich's point, you know, you have the Bruce reactors, Niagara Falls, Pickering, fairly far away from the Ottawa area. So it is an area that the ISO is encouraging more of this development in. Why we don't buy more from Quebec, that's not for me to, when there's plentiful energy, that's not for me to comment on. But I can say that the Ottawa area is near the top of mind for most ISO and Hydro One players. In terms of the specific details, like what it can bring to a community, I would say that depends a lot on the developer as well, you know, in terms of, I mean, black and white, there's going to be increased tax benefit, there's going to be increased jobs, very short term. But in terms of, and then some of the points I made earlier in terms of details, but in terms, I would say more mid-range, I can't speak to the fact that you will see more energy procurements with Eastern Ontario being encouraged to develop in by the ISO.
Great. I think that's excellent, James. Had them be in our panel, so we got some more questions. We'll do them in the panel mode. Okay. So we'll do applause right now.
Thank you. Thank you.